Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and get started with our next speaker today. So I'm going to bring up Toufic on the stage. Toufic, go ahead and come on out here. Toufic is a senior Wi-Fi network engineer at Comcast, and he's going to talk about the next generation of Hotspot 2.0. It's like 2.1, 3.0. He's going to tell us all about it. And 802.1x. So
thank you.
Take it away.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. This is my first CWNP conference, and hopefully I'm going to be a regular. Today we're going to be talking a little bit Passpoint Release 3 and the next generation hotspot. After this morning, or actually until this morning, I thought that what I'm doing in Comcast is extremely exciting. And then I heard Laura talking about deep space and Wi-Fi. I would love to manage a Wi-Fi there, or any kind of wireless network there. So my name is Toufic Kourbeh, and I am a senior wireless engineer in Comcast. I have been working in wireless technologies since 2000, about 19 years of experience with various technologies. Started with GSM, GPRS, UMTS, LTE, and then focused on Wi-Fi. So Passpoint is the new big thing in Wi-Fi, especially if we're talking about carrier Wi-Fi. The reason of that is Passpoint is helping Wi-Fi users to have seamless connectivity with their devices, exactly the same way with phones or cellular phones when they do roaming or when they go from one network area or one network or home network to a visited network area. And this is why Passpoint is very interesting. It's the ease of use. It is the seamless user experience. But Wi-Fi also, or Passpoint also has its downside, which is basically the way we are going to deliver the profile to the user equipment, the stations or the phones. At the same time, Passpoint has a great potential in cleaning the RF. We don't have to use as many SSIDs. We don't have to use so many channels or broadcast on different channels. Only one SSID is more than enough for multiple services and multiple providers. So basically, SSID doesn't matter anymore. And on the RF side, if we reduced our signaling, we have more time, more airtime for basically the data, and therefore we have more throughput to satisfy our customers. Security, the best thing about Passpoint is no more MAC-based authentication. And this is what I love about Passpoint. We don't have to use any more MAC-based authentication with all the problems that comes with it. And basically, this is my favorite point, managing the network. I think everyone here enjoys managing so many Wi-Fi SSIDs, like me? No, no one likes that. And with Passpoint, we don't have to manage any SSID but one SSID. And this is why everybody loves Passpoint. Now, Passpoint is a basically big release. Back in 2012, the WFA, they started with releasing Passpoint. And unfortunately, it was so big, with so many features, they decided to basically do it on different releases. So basically, they started release 1 in 2012. And release 1, basically, it had the network selection, ANQP services, and the authentication. And then release 2 in 2014 which added to the previous release the OSU and OSIN online sign-up layer 2 encryption to it, in addition to some additional features. And then release 3, which was announced early this year in 2019 in February, and it has a bunch of new features and enhancements to release 2 and release 1. The most important enhancement, and this is where in Comcast we participated in this heavily, is the use of a single SSID for online sign-up. And the reason we did that is basically in 2016, we had a study with Ericsson, one of our partners, in downtown Boston, and we discovered that basically 60% of the time of the airtime is going towards beacons. And who wants that? Who wants low throughputs just because everybody is broadcasting and nobody is playing nice? Instead, if we can broadcast only one SSID, we can reduce this overhead time by at least 70 or 80%, and that improvement will go towards the throughput. The user experience will be much better. Same year, we went, my boss at the time and my manager, we went to WBA conference in San Jose, I think. And there, we tested firsthand the Passpoint Release 2. We were not impressed. Let's put it that way. The way at the time with different vendors, whether Microsoft Windows or iOS or even Android, at the time they were not supporting Passpoint Release 1 completely, not to mention Release 2. So the user experience, for experienced users like us, it was horrible. We were unable to connect to the internet. And when we checked with WBA, only 10% at the time of all the attendees who tried the Passpoint were able to successfully connect to the internet. How we're going to fix that? We're going to fix that by improving the provisioning. So, in Passpoint Release 1 and Release 2, the first thing you have to do to provision your device with the service is to look for the Wi-Fi network and then check it. And then the AP will have the communication with the AAA and send you towards or forward you towards the OSU server. After that, you have to pick your provider, service provider, authenticate, download the profile. And this is where it gets tricky. It's very simple so far. It gets tricky after downloading the profile. You had actually to install it on your device and then to disable Wi-Fi and then to enable Wi-Fi for your phone to be able to connect. That's not as seamless as the standard wanted it to be. 802.11u is great. It's a bunch of protocols in that amendment, and it's great. But, there's always but, it's not user-friendly. Recently, iOS 12.2 plus, basically the newer, even on iOS 13, they actually added different steps to do this. After you request from the OSU your profile, basically you are going to get a message saying profile downloaded, and then you're going to close it. That's it. And you have to know that you have to go to the settings yourself, and then you're going to look and see a new option there called profile downloaded, and then install the profile. Well, they did improve other stuff, but this was a user experience and friendliness. The way we tried to fix all of this, or we are still working on fixing all of this, is by working through the bodies of different organizations like WBA and WFA. In WBA, we formed a working group right after our trip to San Francisco in 2016 at the end of the year. And we came up with a new protocol, basically, or a new standard, which we called Secure Inline Provisioning Standard for Passpoint Release 1, Release 2. And we included the same standard improvement on the 802.1x network. So I'm going to be talking also quickly about what we call the next generation 802.1x. It's not really next generation, it's just an improvement to the 802.1x. So the group formed in 2017, and then we have 97 members from 45 companies around the world. It's led by Comcast and Cable Labs, and these are the major contributors for this working group: BSG Wireless, Nokia, Edgewater, and Global Reach. Why we did all this? We were focusing on MSO needs to support bring your own devices. But guess what? This is also a need for the enterprise. This is where everyone here in the room is involved. It is part of the enterprise world too. Can we imagine if I have a profile for, let's say, a bank, or if I'm an employee at a bank, I go to any of their branches, I don't have to authenticate. I have full authentication on their network. I don't have to have many profiles. I only need one profile. Or if I am a guest at a hotel, I travel with and I stay with this chain all over the world. I only need one profile to give me access to their networks all over the world. And seamlessly, with different networks, with different SSIDs, without any user interaction. I just need the profile. At the same time, we need minimum user interaction. We want a cellular-like experience. Unless you didn't change your phone, lost it, break it, you don't have to reinstall that profile. Market demand is a very important engine for every company. Everybody wants to go secure network. Does that mean we have to broadcast in a public Wi-Fi 8, 9, 10 secure SSIDs? What's that going to do to the AP? The performance of the AP? How I'm going to be serving my customers? So basically, our goal is to identify the gaps, especially the user experience gap, for 802.1x network and for Passpoint. Eliminate the need of SSID, additional SSIDs, or even open SSID. So, for you who knows Passpoint, you know that we are required per the specification to basically sign up to the service using the open SSID, which is in the mind of 99% of the people, especially not technical people, and secure. And then download your secure profile, and then connect, and that's it. Why we need to broadcast additional SSID only for that function? So basically, we are trying to save on the resources. The last goal was extending the framework of the profile delivery to the customer. This is a standard flow chart for the 802.11u protocol. We're going to play with this a little bit, and that's what we did. We introduced RF changes. The first change is when, first of all, we have now only one secure SSID. We abandoned the open SSID. And then, with the use of multiple RFCs, like the emergency services, 7406, 3748, which is the EAP protocol, and 5216, which is the EAP TLS protocol. By using them and activating few features, especially in the first one, which is the emergency services, we were able to use NOth EAP-TLS, or what the WFA likes to call it, anonymous EAP-TLS, and put it in use for the first time. The user equipment or the station will send, once it detects the 802.11u beacon, it will send a request and query to this ANQP server, and we'll get list of all the providers. After that, what we're going to be doing is simply sending NOth EAP-TLS request to that SSID. By doing that, now we have two groups of users. Group who are using the authenticated EAP-TLS, the regular one, my users, and the second group is the people who are signing up for the service. For that, we needed different GTK group, and this was our recommendation to the WFA for Passpoint Release 2. So basically, we modified the framework to use a new function in the EAP protocol. For our test cases, we have about 3 major test cases. And let me go back one slide. We did this exactly, we did the same thing for 802.1x. We were able to use NOth EAP-TLS, or if you like to call it anonymous EAP-TLS, we're able to use it in 802.1x network. We had to build the framework, the HAL, and modify the host APD on the access point. And then on our user, on the laptop on Linux, we were able to rebuild the WPA supplicant and the HAL as well on the other side, the wireless HAL. And eventually, we were able to make it happen, even on the 802.1x. We covered in our white paper, which is public. I can share the link of that white paper with you guys. We covered three cases. The first case is onboarding a new device for an existing customer. And then the second one, onboarding roaming customers for the first time, someone coming from Europe or someone going to Europe, for example. Onboarding pay-per-use customer who is deciding to use X services for 1 day, 1 hour, whatever, and buys a pass. I'm going to focus on the first one, onboarding a new device. With onboarding a new device, we are using this flow, which is basically my user equipment is sending anonymous EAP-TLS for 802, for hotspot network, and then getting a reply back, establishing layer 2 encryption before even sending any authentication details, including the MAC address, including, in case of EAP AKA, even the IMSI. Once I connect securely to the AP, then the exchange will happen. After securing the connection, and you might notice here, there is in the first state, which is the initiation, there is a few lines there, dots, red dots. These are not yet defined because we were waiting on another working group to finish their Wi-Fi calling emergency for E911 services for Wi-Fi. It is undergoing work, and so many people are working on this as well. So we kept this as a feature in our provisioning protocol. Once we establish the connection, we go to a new provisioning flow to download this, to authenticate the user and download this profile. Basically, we are introducing new functions in the OSU server where you identify yourself if you're a current customer or you are a temporary customer, and then you download your profile. If you are a roaming customer from another company or a partner, you can download your profile through our network by using this diagram. Once that finish, when you download the profile, the AAA will send you COA message to disconnect you and re-establish your connection. The phone will take that message and re-establish the connection. You see here, the interaction is minimum. And this is very important in case of headless devices. Headless devices is on our map for 2020. We are talking with big companies and coordinating with other companies like Google and other companies. Why? Headless devices could be anything, right? Your internet radio, maybe, but it could be your car. And that by itself is a new market, expanding market, expected by 2025 to be over $3 billion. Just connected cars. Your car will be connected to Wi-Fi networks instead of connected to LTE. Why? Savings. Wi-Fi is more cheaper. So basically, I didn't put that slide here. We had the same, roughly the same slide for 802.1x, where we are using the anonymous EPTLS as well to authenticate on 802.1x network. And that's not going to give us the same functionality of 802.11u, multiple SSIDs, ESSIDs, and stuff like that, but it will give us more security when we actually provision our profiles and download it to the customer instead of connecting to open network. Oh, here you go. This is the 802.1x. The testbed. So, on paper, everything is great. What we did is basically, we said like, okay, we wasted our time. We wasted 270 hours in almost 1.5 years working on this. But, you know, it's just on a paper. It's worth, you know, the paper value unless we're able to actually do it. Let's try and do it. So, we developed new WPA supplicant, and HAL for Unix and Linux, basically. And then we got support from Edgewater Wireless. It's another AP vendor who decided to support us in this quest, and they provided us with an access point that support the Anoth EPTLS and worked with us to modify the host APD. They provided also their controller with a special firmware to accept the anonymous EPTLS. And then Nokia provided their AAA server, cloud-based AAA server, with the same support for anonymous EPTLS and the COA message. And then Global Reach, a British company which is very famous in the OSU and OSIN development, they provided their portal. And that's it. We were able to make it. And the first connection using anonymous EPTLS happened live in WBA World Congress 2018 in London. My colleague here, Josh, will be showing it in a few seconds. Maybe we can put the video now. not going to do that again. All right, I can provide the link for this video where you can see the actual demo happening. It's very exciting. You just press a link and then you know, enable script, and then after that you refresh your browser and here you go, you're connected. It's exciting. So maybe we can use this time for your questions, to answer any questions.
Any questions or anything for Toufic? Any questions at all? I'll bring the microphone back to you.
Hi, is this something that's going to be supported on any existing device today that supports current technologies, or is it going to require software updates, or is it going to require new hardware altogether for the user?
We're going to have the need for support from Google, basically Android of the world, Windows, and we are actually talking with them already about this. This is a great question, actually. On the other side, the AP manufacturers, they have to support the anonymous EPTLS and some other new requirement in the white paper that I mentioned. You can download the white paper from the WBA website, and we have sections even here. I'm sure they're going to share these slides. The last few slides is basically telling you what you need from, let's say, user equipment stand or the AAA stand. What are the features or what are the stuff that you need to modify on them. But yes, there will be software change or update on these devices, as long as your device supports release 2 Passpoint.
First, a big tip of the hat to Hotspot 2.0. Been a long time supporter. So my understanding is AT&T now supports Hotspot 2.0 on all their phones. Is your vision to be kind of get the industry rallied to a common standard, or are you trying to rally the industry to a new standard?
Basically, we are trying to rally for a modified standard. It's the same standard, but we are trying to change some of the functionalities, which already been included in the release 3. So we are not talking about something new here. Release 3 supports anonymous EPTLS already. As for the 8021X, that's something new. We're going to be talking with the WPA Enterprise group in the WFA to support that.
Thanks. So a lot of the UX unfriendliness was on the client devices, and you showed us how iOS is challenging for end users to get the profile installed. Is there any movement among those client device manufacturers to make that a little bit better?
Yes. The short answer is yes. There is a big, long details behind that. Under NDA, we cannot disclose it, but there is a discussion in the backstage about how we can improve the customer experience to avoid something like what we showed on the iOS. Now, that particular slide, iOS or Apple came to us and told us that the reason they decided to go that way is security, because some people, they are using malicious profiles, VPN profiles, and making the user installing them. And we have proposals to Apple and to Google because we know Google might go that direction. We're talking to them not to follow that path, and we have suggestion for Apple to avoid such scenarios. And I'm saying as a group in WBA, not only as a Comcast. I'm talking here on behalf of the WPA working group as leader of that, or co-leader of that group. Any other question? All right, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you again.
Thank you, Toufic. All right, so while we get set up for our next presenter, we're going to take just